How's it going, guys, and welcome back to Arcano. In today's video we are going to be going over 3 things that I didn't know or struggled with when I first started building. We'll be going over 3 topics today, and 2 of them will be to do with your builds and the other one will be to do with being able to build easier and quicker. If you do end up enjoying this video, make sure that you do leave a like, and if you want to, you can subscribe. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be jumping right into it with our 3 topics, and those are actually going to be paint, which is quite an obvious one at first, but it is a really big thing. How to add texture into your builds, which I think is also a very important thing, and some tools and utilities which will be useful to help you build. So yep, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into the video, and I hope you do enjoy. So we're going to start off with this house. You can see it looks very boring and there's not much to it. And we are going to be trying to use the 2 techniques in this video, which are paint and texture. The texture is going to be mainly used for the walls and the actual bricks, and the paint is going to be used to make the texture blend in and look much nicer. So what we've got here is a very basic house: table and chair, a light source, bed, and some storage. And you may be using a downstairs thing if you want anything. But what we're going to start off with, our walls, and we're going to be using brown paint for this, and as we all know, brown paint and grey paint are the 2 most used paints. So we're going to start off by adding some support beams, and whoops, I didn't mean to place them up there, and that's the wrong wall again. But we're going to start off by adding some support beams going into the actual building, and I'm just going to add another vertical support beam here, and I placed that in the wrong place, but actually I think that looks nicer. So there's another little tip there. Wow, I can't speak today, but there's another little tip there. Always like try out stuff and see how it looks, but I like how that's looking, and we're going to continue the support beams going up to the very top as well. So I'm going to add my other horizontal one there, and that's already looking a little bit nicer, but it's looking a little bit bland still, and we're going to add a little bit more texture using some ebon wood. There is a nice little pattern that you can do, which I'm going to do now, which is a sort of checker pattern, but this build isn't wide enough. It could be 1 more block wide and it would be fine, but seeing it's not an odd number, seeing it's not an odd number, we're going to spam place a little bit of ebon wood wall, and it does look really nice when you've added this effect, and I just personally think it's a lovely effect. I use this on quite a lot of my builds, and I think it just looks wonderful. Now that we've finished up that, we are going to head down to the basement area where there's a nice little stone wall, and as again, it looks quite bland, so I've got some stone walls ready to be used to spice this up. I'm using ebon stone brick wall, some green slab wall which we're going to actually use to line the bottom here, and all of this will be used with grey paint. Then we're going to add some accent lines using some grey painted ebon brick wall, and I just think this looks really nice because it adds that little bit of texture which kind of looks like it's being supported. Then I'm going to spam place a little bit of blue tiled wall. I think this one is blue. Yes, this is blue. No, green tiled wall, isn't it? Yes, a green tiled wall. So we're going to spam some green tiled wall all around, and then I'm also going to go back with a little bit of my regular grey brick wall just to touch up some things in some places where there's too much. And that's pretty much it for the walls, and I think it's made an amazing difference to this, and I think it just looks really nice. So let's get on to the next part. We're going to start back off down here in the basement, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of texture to the grey brick. I am using some grey painted ebon stone brick, and it just adds a lot because it adds that a little bit of texture where it may be like a newer brick which is smoother. Then what we can do is we can get some generic stone and we can paint that with nothing, and then we can dot that around as kind of like a worn, cracky kind of brick that's been stepped on or hit multiple times with, say, I don't know, whatever weapons you've got, but it's kind of adds a little bit more of a story and a little bit more character to your build. Next up, we are going to be doing the wooden part. I'm going to be using 3 different types of wood just for this little part, and as you can see, I've been using ebon wood, I'm going to be using spooky wood, and a little bit of shade wood. I might throw in a little bit of rich mahogany later, but I need to get that. But I'm just going to randomly place in a little bit of the different types of wood scattered around, just to add a little bit more variety to the build itself. Now I think what I'll do is I'll grab a little bit of shade wood, and I'm just going to dot this everywhere. It's a bit of a darker wood, so it gives it just like a bit more of a worn kind of look, and I really like how that looks. So we're going to dot a little bit more of this around, and I think I might get some mahogany in a second. Yeah, let's get that now. And yeah, you see it doesn't come up under wood, which is a bit weird, so let's get some rich mahogany wood. There it is. And now I'm just going to dot that, and it's a bit more of a lighter kind of colour. It's lighter than shade wood, and it's sort of darker than regular wood and ebon wood. So it just adds a lot more character to the build, and I just think it looks really nice. And there we go. That's pretty much done for this part. We haven't done anything more to the interior, but what you can also do to spice up your builds is add a little bit of some supports on the ends using something like this. I think it looks quite nice. It also just adds a little bit more to the build that makes it look a bit more natural, because in houses it's not just like a square box in stuff really, but if you have like a wooden house, it will usually have supports in real life as well. But what we can do is we can place 3 little bricks, little bits of wood in the corner, then we can hammer all of them into a slope, and then one out of the slope going towards inwards, and then you see it looks really nice. And then we can texture that as well with a little bit of a lighter and a little bit of a darker wood. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this. What you can also do is you can add a little bit of a window into your base, your room, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to add a little one here, and it's a small window, not too much to it, but it does still add a little bit more character. That's kind of the point of this video, to add character and 3 little bits to your build. But I'm going to get some deep red paint, and I'm also going to get some pumpkin wool, and you can probably see where I'm going with this. I'm going to add some curtains to the build. We're going to put 2 there and 2 there, and I probably should put one further down, but something just doesn't look right about this. I think the curtains might be a little bit too short. I'll mess around with it in a second, and I'll catch up with you when I'm done. I finished messing around with everything, and I think it turned out quite nice. We added this little window and a windowsill and curtains, and in the little bit of the dungeon kind of style part, we added a skeleton and a painting. And now I'm going to show you what a massive difference it makes adding paint into your builds. You're going to see this, and you're going to probably think, how do we go from this to this monstrosity? But I'm going to strip all of the paint off of this build, and you're going to see how desaturated and how manky it looks. But then I'm going to put the paint back on, and you're going to see how much of a difference it makes. But now I've gotten all the paint off of it, and there we go. That's all the paint. Wow, it makes such a big difference with and without the paint. Then we're going to add it all back, and then I'll catch up with you when we're done. Now it's time for what tools to use, and for this I won't be doing a video on this because there are already 2 amazing videos by Chaos, and they are both linked in the description. The first video is for building on 1.4, so for PC, and the other one is for building on 1.3 and below. So if you want to check those out, then they're both great videos. You can use it for console, you can use it for pretty much any platform which allows building pretty much. So all of those will be in the description. Please make sure that you do go and check them out because they are also great videos. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, but that's all we had time for this video, and I really do hope that you have enjoyed this video, and if you have enjoyed, make sure that you consider dropping a like, and maybe also consider subscribing if you're not. If you haven't already, make sure you do join the Discord, and also follow me on Twitch. I'll be trying to do daily streams, or I've got a schedule that I'm thinking of, but for now I'm going to be keeping it to daily. That's all for now, and I really do hope you have a great day, and yep, hopefully see you in the next video. Bye!